Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Coast to Coast Hoops. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning. I'm your host, Adam Danis from PickCity.com and Go Get 'em Sports. Today's show brought to you by PickCity.com. Head over to PickCity.com to find your next best bet. Every league, every game, they have you covered at PickCity.com. We have a huge slate today to get to, filled with plenty of conference battles, and we will get to that as soon as I welcome in my buddy Skojo. What's going on, Skoj?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Looks like we're kind of getting back to normal here. Not so many canceled games today, so it's looking like maybe getting back to. It looks like ASU might even play tonight. Who knows? They've been off for 2 weeks, but yeah, looking forward to this Saturday.
Yeah, and not as many games as the prior weeks in canceled. I think today's like 10, maybe. I think it's canceled 10 or 12.
Yeah, 9 or 10.
So it's getting better as teams adjust to maybe just keeping people just stay away from the team. Maybe just keep them separated more after practice. I don't know. Something's working this week. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but we got 10 games for you, and then I have two pretty good parlays I like. One being a huge underdog that has a chance to win today. But we're gonna get to the first game today. Your game, Seton Hall travels to Marquette after a brutal loss to DePaul earlier this week.
Yeah, brutal loss. So they're going to look, but this is more a play against Seton Hall in their schedule, and I think they're going to be a little bit tired here, and Marquette's going to get them in a good spot. This Marquette team's playing really good under Shaka Smart. They've been actually a pretty good surprise for me. I didn't give them a lot of pub at the beginning of my season, but they've been playing really well. I like them on their home floor here. Seton Hall, tough schedule recently, and like I said, they look dead at DePaul, and I don't think they're going to look any better here at Marquette. I think this will be a close game. It's going to come down to the last 5 minutes, but I like Marquette to pull away late here and get the win on the money line.
Yeah, I think Marquette has been a great team at home so far this year. And I think Shaka has them just ready to play against any opponent so far, especially in this tough Big East conference. Seton Hall, I watched that game from beginning to end, and they just looked terrible from the tip. I get told you yesterday, I don't know if it's because of the time difference, meaning the scheduling time. Usually they play at 7 or 8 o'clock. It's an early game at 5, and they travel to Chicago, so it might have been a tough game to adjust. But again, walking into a tough arena today with Marquette, it's not gonna get any easier. Marquette's playing well. They have good guard play, great shooting from the outside, and again, Shaka has just really been typing his team up to playing their best ability in the tough Big East basketball. So I like Marquette getting points today as well. I think it's close down the stretch. So this total I think will hit as well. I think one team gets to 80. Pretty easily late down the stretch in this game. So yeah, I like Marquette at home. They're starting to be one of the teams to look at home every game now, especially them getting points today, which is nice. My first game of the day is Texas taking on Iowa State. Iowa State, obviously, probably one of the most surprising teams so far in the nation in a tough Big 12 conference. Texas, they have been out with Trey Mitchell the past two games. They had a bounce back win last game against Oklahoma, beat them by double digits after getting basically trounced by Oklahoma State on the road. One thing for me is Iowa State team, they have one good guard, but do they have enough to keep up with this talented, on paper, probably one of the most talented teams in the country in Texas? Texas comes in 3-1 against the spread in conference play. Only loss coming to Oklahoma State, like I just said, on the road. I think this is a huge game for Texas, just mindset-wise, like coming into a team who's hot, who has all the confidence in the world. And I think Texas, with their talent, just overmatches Iowa State today.
Yeah, this Iowa State team was a surprise earlier. The thing I don't like about them is the pace they play, and they've been really struggling on offense. They try to muck games up, but this Texas team hasn't been much better on the offensive side. I can see this being a low-scoring game here. Actually, the first 1 to 60 might get the win. But yeah, Iowa State's one of those teams for me, so I'm off this game.
Yeah, I think when the season started, like they got Carr, they got Mitchell, Jones is back, and Ramsey, and they have like a solid starting five, and of course like a good bench too. It's just sometimes you have too much talent, and there's only one basketball, so I think it's hard to get used to like passing the ball and like moving the ball around, not being so ball dominant with these guys. Like obviously Trey Mitchell came in to this season averaging 22 from UMass, and now he's thrown into the Big 12 and playing with Carr and Jones, who have been there, done that in bigger conference games. So I think might be the game where they start to gel a little bit more on the road. But I like Texas by 6+ today, and a Big 12 game for them. Your next game, Delaware at Hofstra. Hofstra, 6.5-point favorites at home today. That total is sitting at right under 150 at 147.5.
Yeah, I like this Delaware team. They're a really good offensive team, good 3-point shooting team, decent on defense. And Hofstra, this is actually going to be a good game. I actually like Delaware to win a close game here. But if you're going to give me 6.5, I think Delaware definitely stays inside of that. Hofstra's been off to a good start this year. Good team, well coached. They're going to be there in their conference. Could be a tournament team. But I just like this Delaware team the way they're playing right now, sharing the ball really well, shooting the ball, and they've stayed with pretty much everybody they played against all year long. So I really like this Delaware team to stay within the 6.5, and probably going to sprinkle the money line here. I think they pull out a little baby upset on the road here.
Yeah, Hofstra, of course, one of those teams that one of only two teams I think who have beaten Hofstra. I mean, I've beaten Monmouth this year. They actually broke their streak of covering when they played them before this COVID outbreak. Hofstra, I mean, I haven't seen too much for me to say they can cover a game by 7+. And you and I both agree with games that we think are going to be close down the stretch. That these totals should lean over with free throws at the end, or maybe, of course, overtime with a possibility. So I love the over here. 150 is a great number, I think. I think it's going to be in the 70s for both these teams. So down the stretch, I think you can see 155 or 156 to hit this mark. My game, West Virginia at Kansas. West Virginia getting 11.5, probably 12 now on the road at Kansas. Over under sitting at 141.5. For me, it's just this West Virginia team is starting to pick it up a little bit, I think. Sherman's back from injury. O'Neal's playing like he should be. 10-2 against the spread after a win for West Virginia. Like I said, they're back to being just about fully healthy. Kansas, no Remy Martin today, as you know him pretty well, and no Zach Clements as their center is out as well. So two starting pieces out for Kansas. I know Kansas is just dominant at home, but I've watched this team play a couple of times, and they just, I don't know, there's something about them that doesn't scare me in a 12-point game. So I think West Virginia can cover that game. Maybe it's a 10-point win by Kansas, but I don't think they cover the 12 here today.
Yeah, this has got backdoor written all over it to me. You're right. I don't trust this Kansas team. It seems like there's something missing with them this year. I don't know if it's the inside presence. They definitely got good guard play. They can shoot the ball. Maybe it's just a little bit inside with Lightfoot. I don't know that he's actually a local kid too, but out of Arizona here. But I don't know. He doesn't. Kansas is just one of those teams that if you run into him against a tournament, you're just not going to be that nervous. But West Virginia, their offense scares me a little bit on the road. But I think this got backdoor written. Like I said, I think you're going to be right around an 8-10 point game here. Again, not a game I'm going to be on today, but I can see West Virginia staying in the number.
Yeah, and I looked at some numbers. Like, I'm a numbers freak, as you know, and the last 5 years for Kansas, I mean, Bill Self has obviously been so dominant at home, just winning games, but his number against the spread numbers the last 5 years as a home favorite are only 37 and 41, covering those games. So it's not like a dominant stretch for him these last 5 years. West Virginia with Bob Huggins, I think he's got this team ready to go in a tough Saturday matchup, tough place to play. But if you give a team like West Virginia, who's got experience, who has 2 leaders in this team who have been here, done that in the tournament. Of course, Bob Huggins, we all know what kind of coach he is. When you give this team 12 points and a tough place to play, and they know they're an underdog, I just think it's like you have to take the points here. Now, do I see maybe Kansas starting off hot and getting off to a big lead early? Maybe, because they're at home, they got the environment. They got obviously the fans at home, but I think West Virginia down the stretch plays their defense, plays their style of play. I think they get, like you said, the backdoor cover. I'm not sprinkling the money line in this situation just because Kansas is so dominant winning at home these past couple of years, but I think 12 is just way too many here. I think it's a 7-point game, 7, 8 point game, like you said. So I'm riding with the points here. If I get crushed here, I get crushed, but I just like the double-digit points here in the conference matchup. Next game on the list, Florida State travels to Syracuse. Syracuse giving Florida State 2.5. Over-under sitting at 149.5.
Yeah, I always tell you my rule with Syracuse. I hate playing them as a favorite and love them as a dog. But I also hate Florida State on the road. And I think Syracuse actually going to win this game pretty easy. Really good three-point shooting team. Florida State just not a typical Florida State team this year. And they've always been a Jekyll and Hyde team away from off their home court. So I actually think Syracuse – I look for Syracuse to get out early here and pretty much control this game. Probably stay ahead, by 7-8 points the whole game, maybe pull away a little more at the end. This is just really more a fate of Florida State on the road, and I think Syracuse, they're due for a good shooting day, and I like them. Even though I never really like to play them as a favorite, I'm going to take them today to control this game.
Yeah, and Syracuse for me, if anything, it's just a first half play. If you watch in the past 3 or 4 games, home or away, they come out really hot in the first half, they get up 12, 16 points, and then the second half starts and they're down 8. It's I don't know if Boeheim just lays off them in the huddle and in the locker room when they're up 16 and just doesn't really get into them and doesn't really pump them up for the second half. But they're a first half team for me. They usually come out hot, especially at home. I think the last home game they scored 20 points in the first 8 minutes, which was pretty hot for them. Big thing for Syracuse early is just to see how Jimmy Boeheim and the guards are playing. 3 good guards for Syracuse, like we've said in the past, and then we obviously are fading Florida State out on the road this year. I think 2.5 is a pretty easy number to hit with Syracuse at home. It just worries me how Syracuse comes out in the second half. I think the first half's are pretty much a lock. If you can get the money line in the first half, but I'm just scared of Syracuse coming out sluggish in the second half. But I lean Syracuse here just because they're probably the better team at home. My next game, Arkansas travels to LSU. Yes, I know Pinson's out. I understand, but this LSU team has plenty of other ways to win. Pinson, yes, he's the ball handler. Yes, I know he's the point guard. I get all that. Arkansas also banged up. Kamani Johnson's out today with an ankle. He hurt himself last game. So you got injuries on both sides here. LSU has just been so dominant at home on Saturdays too with that crowd. 6.5 just seems too easy for me. I think it's a 10-point victory for LSU. Arkansas just doesn't have it this year. They had it last year. They have a good coach in Musselman, but they're just not playing their way of basketball right now. 7-9 against the spread in the year, 0-2 against the spread away from home, and 1-3 to start conference play to the number. LSU's been my team all year, 10-0 straight up at home, 13-0 straight up as a favorite, 13-3 against the spread, 10-0 against the spread as a home favorite, 3-1 against the spread in conference play. And the Pinson injury does make this game a little suspect for me, but I think LSU picks it up. They beat Florida pretty easily without Pinson last game on the road, and we know they struggle on the road sometimes. So I think Arkansas is going into a tough place to play. Not as much talent as LSU, even without Pinson. I think LSU gets the easy 10-point victory here in a slugfest.
Yeah, I'm off this game. I was all over Arkansas in their last game, and they just came out and boat raced. I don't even remember who they played, but I've been waiting for this Arkansas team to get right. I really like Musselman as a coach. Again, this isn't a game I'm going to be on at all. It's just hard to go against LSU. I looked at this game and I was leaning on the Arkansas side, but it's either LSU or nothing in this game because it's just so I'm off this game. I think Arkansas is starting to turn a corner here. It scares me that they might keep this close. I bet I can't go against LSU at home. So they've just been, like you said, numbers wise, they've just been unreal. So this is just going to be a game that I have fun watching, but I'm not on at all.
If you guys don't feel comfortable betting the spread, just because I know if you guys know Pinson, he's a great guard. I like the total to go under here. 145.5 just seems too many points for me. Obviously, you add Pinson being out, you add Johnson being out for Arkansas. Yes, Arkansas is pretty dominant on the offensive end, but LSU with Pinson being out and then their dominant defense at home, I think this total goes under 140 pretty easily. Maybe like a 70-60 type of game, 70-62. So I don't think it reaches 150 today. So if you guys don't feel comfortable playing LSU because Pinson's out, my second play here would be the under. Next game, Furman travels to Chattanooga. Chattanooga favored by 3.5 at home. Over under sitting at 141.5.
Yeah, Chattanooga coming off a really bad loss against Western Carolina, I think it is, and I love the Mocs, especially at home. And this is a double play for me. I love Chattanooga at home and Furman. This game's probably going to be close. Furman might even have a lead at the beginning, but Furman just has a really bad habit of just, especially on the road, falling apart in the second half. So I've got this actually at -3. I know it's up to 3.5 right now, but I really like, and I think the total goes over here too. At 141.5. Both teams like to play with pace. Furman, not a very good defensive team. They are a good offensive team. They could pull away from Chattanooga here, but I just think Chattanooga with their defense is going to be able to control this game. Might be close in the first half, but look for Chattanooga to pull away in the second half.
Yeah, I mean Furman, like again, they're kind of like Syracuse in the aspect of they always come out hot, home or away. They always come out hot. Like, they came out hot against North Carolina, and they led at half against North Carolina, and then that team just totally crumbles coming out of the huddle second half. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's coaching, if it's just not being ready to play in the second half. If they're sluggish coming off the bench and resting their legs, but total Chattanooga here at home. They've been dominant all year. I think the total goes over pretty easily here. I say the safer play is the over. I think both teams get to 70, even with Furman's trouble in the second half, which I'm a little afraid of. That's why I'm not really on this game too much. Maybe I think the best play here for me, if I'm taking anything in this game, is either Furman first half or the first half over. I think it's going to be a dominant first half scoring wise, up and down the court first half. And I think Furman adds into that with how they're playing in the first half. But like you said, Furman just second half has just been so bad that I lean Chattanooga here, winning by 4+ pretty easily. Next game for me, I'm just taking the hot streaks here. Texas A&M on the road by 5 here against Missouri. A&M winners of 7 straight, coming on pretty hot with buzz, turning that program around, covering in 6 of those 7 wins, 6-5 against the spread as a favorite, 2-1 against the spread in conference play. Missouri just not good. 3-5 last 8 straight up, covering only 3 of those games. They're also 3-7 against the spread as an underdog. Ever since like that Phil Pressey year when they in the tournament, they've just been downhill. As a tournament wise, as a program wise, A&M kind of on the uptick with Buzz Williams going back to his alma mater. He's got this team playing pretty well on the defensive side of the ball. I think Texas A&M controls this game from the tip. I think it's just a total dominant play by A&M here. They have all the momentum in the world. Like I said, winners of 7 straight, heading into Missouri, where they've just been not good at all.
Yeah, Missouri's just they're horrible. I have nothing to add to this game at all. I didn't even look at it, so I honestly don't know a lot about either one of these teams. Never bet on either one of these teams or bet against either one of these teams, so haven't really looked at either one all year long, so not familiar.
Yeah, one of the things for this game, and I'll touch on it a little bit more. Missouri plays well in the first half. They usually hold teams pretty close in the first half, but the second, it's just another bad second half team. I think they held Kentucky pretty close in the first half, and then Kentucky just boat raced in the whole second half. I think they won the second half by 20+. So I think this A&M team could start off slow. Don't be worried about that. I think second half they really kick it into gear and kick ass in this game, winning by I think a 10+ victory again today. Your next game, Denver at South Dakota State. South Dakota State, huge favorites here, giving Denver 18.5 points, traveling to South Dakota State. Over under sitting at a hefty 157.5.
Yeah, I don't usually like playing overs when I think it's going to be a blowout. I do think this game will be a blowout, but anybody who's watched South Dakota State play at home, this team is nuclear at home. I think they put up 100+ here. So we're just looking for Denver to make up the difference there. Denver plays with a pretty good pace too. I think they can definitely do what they got to do to just make up the difference here. But South Dakota State, I don't know what their team total is, but I think they go at least 95 plus here. But I look for them to get over the 100 point mark here. I just love the South Dakota State team at home. Just a offensive machine.
Yeah. I think you have to see at least 90 plus here from South Dakota State. I think Denver can get 70 pretty easily here. Again, with South Dakota State, just run a track meet here. I see it. I'm off this game completely. Don't know too much about either of these teams. But I'm going with you here and saying the over is the better play. Next game for me is Oral Roberts on the road here. Minus 4.5 favorites at Kansas City. Over under sitting at 144.5. Oral Roberts 7-3 last 10 straight up. 8-2 against the spread in those 10 matchups, covering some pretty huge spreads. I saw 14, 15, 16-point spreads they're covering. Roberts is 7-2 against the spread as a favorite this year, and are 5-1 against the spread starting conference play. Kansas City 3-4 against the spread as a dog, and only 1-2 against the spread in conference play, with an average loss being right around 6 points. Oral Roberts obviously was the big tournament team last year. They've come into this year playing pretty good basketball. I see this is my pick of the day so far. I think Oral Roberts comes out and gives his team a pretty good ass whooping today. Oral Roberts, again, shooters on the outside. Kansas City really does not show me anything where they can keep in this game. Again, I see a 12-point victory here by Oral Roberts.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. I love this Oral Roberts team too. It's a game I looked at and that I liked. So I second everything that you just said. I like this Oral Roberts team here to get a pretty easy victory.
Yeah. Okay. So moving along pretty nicely here. We're 22 minutes in. Again, guys, if you have any questions on other games, always hit us up either at Sun Devil or at Coast to Coast Hoops or Go Get 'Em Sports. We'll answer any question you guys got on anything. We'll give you our picks or whatever. So next, we're getting some parlays. What you guys always like to hear from us. I believe I hit one last week, a 3-teamer for you guys. I know, Scott, you have one today you like.
Yeah, anybody following me on Action App? I've been pretty hot with these the last couple days. So I'm going to go with all money line plays here: Marquette, Delaware, and Rice. All of them to win outright. That's sitting at plus 1,500 right now. I got it at plus 1,511. I like Marquette at home. I think they're going to win a close game there against Seton Hall. Delaware, I think I'll win a close game, and Rice has been playing well, so I like the value on them today. So I'm going to play those three at plus 1,500.
All right, I got two. One being my main parlay at minus 103, so basically even money today. Loyola Chicago, Auburn, and Grand Canyon, three of the hottest teams in college basketball right now. Auburn travels to Ole Miss in a tough environment today, but I think Auburn is the team right now, and they're my favorite team. They've been my favorite team for the past probably since the season started, I guess. Jabari Smith, Katie Johnson, Bruce Pearl, all of it just mixing well right now. I think Auburn wins that game pretty easily. I think Grand Canyon, I mean, they just trounced this ABC team last game. I believe they're at home today as well. Grand Canyon should get the easy win. Minus 103 for me. I know it's not plus money, but minus 103 for me is just great value for all three of these teams to get the easy win today. And then my next one is a plus 4,500 parlay, all underdogs. You got South Carolina, North Texas, Wake Forest, and Notre Dame. All four of these teams have kind of been a surprise this start of the year. I've made a shit ton of money on Notre Dame this year. Wake Forest is playing Virginia, which I know Virginia is just a tough place to play, and they're a hard-nosed basketball team with a good coach. But Wake Forest, I think they have the ability to maybe beat them as a road dog today. North Texas, one of our favorite teams today, playing hot in their conference. And then South Carolina, I forget who they're taking on today, but they're at home as a dog, and I think they could pull out the upset here. They've been playing pretty good basketball. That's sitting at plus 45-34. So, I mean, if you put a dabble on that, it's pretty good value for me. So, those are my two. Anything else, Scud? No, we kind of blew through this slate a a little bit. But
Yeah,
and you
no,
like
I'm probably going to be on UAB and Baylor today. I think they both cover those 14-point spreads.
yeah.
I'm going to keep riding UAB. I know they had a clunker a couple of games ago, but they just went right back to what they do. And I think Baylor's looking for a bounce back after that debacle the other night. So I think they're gonna blow Oklahoma State out of the water today.
Yeah. One of the other games I was looking at and I was undecided, so I didn't play it. Was Kentucky at home today against Tennessee.
Yeah,
Um,
I like the under in that game.
yeah, I think it's gonna be a dogfight, just like a back and forth, just big defensive matchups, big, down to the wire shots, running plays. Both these teams don't like to get out and run. Both a lot of the good free throw shooting teams. They shoot a lot of free throws. They get a lot of fouls down low in the paint. Obviously, Oscar Tshiebwe is probably gonna have a big game today, but it's a good matchup with their center in Tennessee. 4.5 just seems too many points for me here. I think this game should be like a 2-point game. Obviously, I lean Kentucky at home as a favorite. Calipari has been known as just a great home favorite team with Kentucky. Kentucky still has some injuries to work with today against a Tennessee team who I really don't care for. Ever since Barnes has come in there, they just can't score the ball. And I don't trust them at all. So I lean Kentucky here, but I'm not playing it. I want to play it. It's the first game I saw. I talked to you yesterday about it. It's the first game I saw on the slate, but that 4.5, it just seems like a perfect line for me. I think I agree with you. I think Baylor rolls today pretty easily. Yeah, I think it's a great watching slate today. I think it's more of a watching slate than betting slate for me. Great conference games today, I think, on the Saturday. So
yeah, I'm not going to dabble San Jose State on the money line, even though they got a tough team at home, Colorado State. But San Jose State, huh?
Isn't that plus 500?
Yeah, they're 12-point dogs at home, so I'm definitely going to be on San Jose State today to cover the 12. They could get butt raced here. Colorado State's that good of a team, but I just like San Jose State in their own gym. They've been playing really well there.
Gotcha. Real quick announcement: if you guys have been watching the show today and you want my NFL playoff picks, hit me up on GoGet'em_sports. I'll give you all for free for today and tomorrow. Got plenty to choose from. I see some upsets today in the NFL. So yeah, that's about it. Tomorrow we're gonna be posting our plays via Twitter since I'll be away on some business. So yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'll be posting our plays around 11 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. I'll give you Scoj picks, give you my picks, probably a couple parlays to go with that. So we'll catch you tomorrow, guys. Have a great Saturday. Please bet responsibly. Remember, we'll see you tomorrow.